this is I like to call it the baggy pants body shape. This one is very Y2K. It's very, I'm hip. Uh, Listen, I have been alive for millennia, so I can use the word hip. Oh, hello. Welcome in to the afterlife. How may I help you? You just sort of wandered in? Yeah, I can see that. You are a soul. I can see from like sort of the wisps and wisps that are like coming off of you. Yeah, like right there. It's all very souly, But welcome to the afterlife. It's pretty chill over here. Not much going on. Yeah, but you're not going to be here for long. No need to worry about that. You don't know what's going on. Okay, yeah. So you have died. Very tragic. Yeah, I don't really know the situation yet. But I just got off my break and you're the first soul since then. So let's just get started, right? Yeah, you'll catch on as to what's happening, okay? So can I have your soul identification number, your SID? Yeah. Okay, that's 387,643 billion. 473,639,969,420. Okay. Yeah, one of the early souls. So from what I can tell from your identification number, this is not your first time through reincarnation, so that's probably why you're not freaking out so much. Your soul tends to hold on to sort of core emotions, even though you can't remember any of these things. How did you know that? How did you know your old name? Hold on a second. Can remember. What else can you remember of your old life? Okay. That's sort of fuzzy memories, okay? And can you remember any specific, like, you remembered your name, right? So can you remember any, like, specific memories or... Okay. Not good. Okay, so you did contract memory glue fever. It's not good, but luckily we have a vaccine and we have some medicine for you. Yeah, so I guess let me explain. Through the interdimensional highway between reality and the afterlife, there is a lot of souls in transit. And unless you were wearing a mask, your soul can end up contracting some sort of flu or fever or, like memory glue fever. And that just means that you're holding on to memories that you really shouldn't be, right? It's going to be very stressful for you once you reincarnate to have memories of a different life, right? It'll oftentimes it leads to premature death and like a whole host of problems we don't need to go into it. It's a little bit too scary for me. But no need to worry. First, we're going to deal with a vaccine, right? So this is, this obviously is a needle. It may not look like a needle. However, what you fail to realize is that here in the afterlife, things look like what brings you the most comfort. So I imagine that this brought you a lot of comfort when you were on Earth. Yeah, so just stay still while I inject. Okay, one more time. Stay still. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So, your memory should sort of slowly sort of release, right? And here I'll help, right? So just let it go. Let everything go. Nothing matters, right? Everything is not important when it comes to reality, when it comes to the afterlife, right? Everyone's equal here. So now let's get on to the main event, which will be me and you, and me telling you that you have won basically the reincarnation lottery. You're going to be a human. Isn't that exciting? Yeah, it's a lot of people really want to be human. It is a bit interesting. I'm getting a lot of reports that there is the imminent heat death of the universe, as well as a lot of exploitation and poverty. And that's just something that I suppose is a good thing. Humans seem excited about it. So, what am I to do? But we are going to move on to who am I? Yes, I need to tell you about that. I am genetics reincarnate. So I am here to determine your genetics. Some people think that genetics is predetermined based off of, the genes of the parents. Don't listen to them. I'm in charge. So, really, there are a few rules that I have to follow. But there, and there's a lot of new company policies here in the afterlife, which have really been a bummer. But there are still a few things that I can offer you, okay? And I made sure to fight for these things so that you can go onto Earth being your true and authentic self, right? So, yes. Okay. So first we're going to start off with just your general body shape, right? So we have here a series of body shapes that you can choose from. We'll go through them one by one so that you understand the pros and cons of each one, why you might want to choose one of them, and the statistics of each one, right? As the god of genetics, not God, sorry, the genetics reincarnate, I tend to have a lot of these statistics in mind, and this is why I chose to have these 9 in particular to present to you, right? So this over here is the sort of basic oval body shape. Now, this can read when you're on Earth as a bit schlubby, a bit sort of like every man and every woman, right? Like there's nothing super stand out, like it doesn't stand out very much. However, that's kind of a good thing, right? Sometimes you want to be an everyman. Sometimes you don't want the attention on you, and you'll never feel underrepresented. You are in everything because you are everyone, right? So this is the everyman and the every woman and the every person. So next we have the square body shape. So this one is a bit interesting because you want this tends to read very blocky, right? It tends to read to people as very solid, right? I personally, as genetics reincarnate, do not believe in astrology, but I do find that souls that have been reincarnated as Capricorns and Tauruses tend to pick this one, the earth signs, because they want to feel safe, they want to feel secure and grounded. And so for this one, it's just one of those things where if you feel like you want to be immovable, right? Like immovable object meets I forget the rest of the I don't understand human language, but if you want to be immovable, if you don't want to be pushed around, if you want to stand your ground, but still sort of fit within a sort of a body type that is not very out there for a lot of people, then I would suggest going with this square body type. And then we have the circle. This one reads very friendly, right? This is very, it's very Kirby shaped. Oh, Kirby, yes. Kirby is like my coworker. Yes, I know you have some show and some cartoon about it. No, very real. So yes, this very much inspired by Kirby. Very, very friendly. You end up coming across as very safe, like a very warm, safe person. A lot of people will want to be your friend. You'll be like the life of the party with this body shape. And most of the time, when people pick this, people are not full of themselves. And what I mean by that is that people pick this because they think, not because they want to be the like life of the party, but because they are the life of the party. Their soul just sort of emanates, right? They tend to have like a very blinding aura. Like if you had a soul that would typically pick this sort of circular shape, then I would be wearing sunglasses right now. Okay, so let's move on to this one. This is the pear shape. I would say that this is pretty much a recent addition. When I look at this, I see a fairly clean shape, right? It's a recent addition, mostly because a lot of people here in corporate have a lot of prejudices. The corporate afterlife, and when we pitched this, they didn't think that souls would go for it, right? They thought that the demand would be too low, but luckily it is here. And what we found so far with early data is that a lot of people end up being very clean with this, right? Their fits are very chic, and they have almost like a no nonsense personality. They're very not hard. They're not like strict or anything, but they're incredibly they have their life together, right? Like they have a goal, they set that goal, and they get it. It's just they're straight shooters. And so this would be one of those one of those body types that tend to be picked for that type of person. And then if we move on to this one, this is sort of a triangle shape, and this one is very, very old. This was one of the 2 or 3 that we offered like millennia ago. Yes, a lot of people chose, a lot of men in particular who wanted to be reincarnated into men, chose this one. Unfortunately, this one has an issue. It has like a slight genetic defect, and you would think as the genetics reincarnate that I would be able to fix that, but unfortunately it's sort of hard coded into the like soul matter. This tends to be one of those things where you tend to have like a very bad personality when you pick this one. You tend to be very standoffish. You tend to be a loner. You describe yourself as a lone wolf, a sigma, like very, very unfortunate, but definitely not something to shy away from if that is sort of your thing anyway, right? Because it's definitely one of those things where the longer you live in that lifestyle, the harder it is to get out of. So if you just wanted to get a head start on it, and like if you really wanted to be like the bully in your high school, if you wanted to, be in like on like the football team or like on the softball team or whatever, it is also like very gender neutral, right? You can choose this and really dominate in whatever career and pathway in life that you want. It's just that you're not going to be very liked. And then we have this one here. This is sort of the opposite of this. It's very similar to this, actually. So it's very similar to the square shape. It's more like a trapezoid shape, though. And the difference between these two is that while this one is very like solid, this one is immovable. And what I mean by that is that I did describe this as a little bit immovable, but this is seriously immovable. Like, stubborn is what I'm trying to say. We're getting into some stereotyping here, but listen, as genetics reincarnate, I tend to have the statistics in mind, right? And so when I look at this and I see the souls that pick this, I tend to think, wow, they are not going to leave the house. They are going to become hoarders, and they're going to do a lot of things that are going to, they're going to create bunkers, right? They're going to like be preppers. And yeah, if that's you, then go for it, right? Like, this is, you want this body shape. If you are planning to be a prepper and want to be in the bunker, so just make sure to keep that in mind. Next, we have this one. This is the supervillain vampire body shape, right? Very, very high shoulders, very pointy feet, very much like a bat, right? This in particular, this was also a recent addition. I tried to fight against it. However, I think that we're about to include reincarnation as a vampire as one of our criteria. So this is sort of like a holdover, not holdover, but an addition in preparation for that reincarnation. But since you're not reincarnating as a vampire, this would really set you apart in both a good and a bad way, right? Social media is a really interesting thing. You could really gain a lot of followers by having this body shape and really like flaunting it. And but also people might think that you are, people might dislike you. They might find you intimidating. It might get you like a viral moment, but I don't know if it would get you, I don't know, like I don't know if it would get you millions of dollars, right? And of course, you would want millions of dollars, I would assume, just based off of the aura that you're giving off. And so this one over here is, this is I like to call it the baggy pants body shape. This one is very Y2K. It's very, I'm hip. Listen, I have been alive for millennia, so I can use the word hip. You guys left that word way too quickly. But yes, this is very current, right? It's very on trend. You want those baggy pants. You want you want them to be soggy in the rain and for them to just drag and you'd have cold ankles. This is, you're romanticizing the 2000s. This is the Britney and Justin Timberlake jean moment. And so if you are obsessed with that, this is for you. And this last one over here, this is the heart body shape. Now, this one is very, very interesting because this is actually a very old edition. You'd think it's a new edition because it kind of looks similar to this, and this is not even meant to be here quite yet. This one is actually really old because this sort of gives off the vibe of, I am here and you are going to know I'm here. I am a presence and you need to know it. So this is definitely one of those ones where, similar to the circle body shape, this one is very friendly, but it has an aura of intimidation, right? You can go from friendly to intimidation like that. It's unbelievable. So this is the heart shape. So to recap, we have the sort of neutral oval body shape. This is the every man and every woman and every person. This is the square body shape. This is for solid, sort of safe people. This is the circular shape. This is for friendly people. This is for people who want to be liked. The pear shape is for clean people, straight shooters. The triangle is for well, I don't want to say that word. Therefore, the poorly mannered of us. And then we have this one over here. This one is the trapezoid one, and it is the immovable one, right? This is the one, the stubborn one, the prepper one, the bunker one. Then this one is the vampire one. It's if you want to try and have a gimmick. This one is the Y2K one if you want soggy baggy jeans and Britney Justin 2000s nostalgia. And then this is the heart-shaped one, and then the heart-shaped one, which is sort of friendly but with intimidation. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Which would you like? Here, you can take a good look at it here. Here we go. Okay. Okay, perfect. I knew you'd pick that one. Next, we're going to deal with your hands. So this is one of those things that they tried to cut in sort of the corporate downsizing, but I said, no, we need this, right? This is something that I think a lot of people need to understand and need, like the souls need it when they reincarnate. So we have here a bunch of different hand types, right? Let's just go through them like before. We have here the regular sort of what would be considered the typical hand of a human. 5 fingers, a palm, and a nice sort of wrist. Here you have the nubbin. This is sort of an interesting one because it tends to have, like, you can get it through non-genetic means. However, if you go through me, and me specifically, other genetic reincarnates will not give this to you, but I can give you the Powerpuff Girl effect, where you can grab things, right? You can sticky things onto your nubbin and pick them up that way, and it would be, I think, super helpful. So if you really wanted sort of a nubbin, you can totally do that. Then we have the mechanical hand. This is sort of a mock-up of what a mechanical hand would look like within the future, like in the year 3000, 4000. If the heat death of the universe hasn't happened yet, then this would be something that you would tend to have. And it will be difficult, growing up with it, but you'll be way ahead of your time, right? They'll read about you in the history books. This one I like to call the cartoon hand. This is the 3 fingers and a thumb. And what's interesting about this is that, like, it's very similar, obviously, to a regular hand. But, you'll get to be able to say, like, hey, I have a cartoon hand. Isn't that fun? Corporate has like a very, very soft spot for carpenters. And so this hand in particular is for the carpenters. It's for people who want to have a hammer for a hand. And it's just like, hey, I'm using a hammer every day, hitting those nails, doing what I need to do, doing my work. And this would be incredibly handy. And so this one over here is a bit hard to see what it is, but it is the God, like the hand of God. This sort of acts as a sort of like a pocket flash. You can just like open your palm, metaphorically speaking, and you'd blind whoever you see, like permanently blind them. You'd have a lot of power, but this is one that we give out very, very rarely, only if we deem the soul to be very worth it, right? Like if they really needed, I don't know, if they wrote like a very, very persuasive personal essay, we'd think about giving this to that soul. And this over here is the scissor hands. It does look like it just has 2 fingers, but these are sort of scissor-like. From what I understand, humankind have created sort of something called like an Edward Scissorhands that makes a mockery of this, right? This was the original. You might not remember people who have this, but they do have it. And yes, like scissors for hands, yes. Yeah, so, put some respect on this. Next, we have the Swiss Army knife hand. We only call it that because I think that a lot of souls have a hard time distinguishing like what's happening, and so that tends to make them understand what we're trying to get across. So this, you have like a drill, you have a little thing over here, and then you have a knife, you have a measure, like a what's it called, a ruler, and they all sort of fold into your palm. Right? Isn't that really cool right here? And then over here, you can just choose not to have a hand, right? You don't need to have a hand. It's not something that is required. So, do you want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9? Okay. Here, wait, let me show you just in case. Does this change your mind? No. Okay. A safe choice, I would say. Okay. Now here we have an interesting page. This is just to determine this top part tends to be what souls pick. This is a very recent addition. So let's start here. This is your height, right? Do you want to be very, very tall, average height, or short, right? And really think about this, right? If you're very, very short, you'll have a hard time grabbing things. You'll have a hard time reaching for things. People will block your view at concerts. It's going to be a really hard time. But if you're very, very tall, people think that being very tall is a good thing, and it tends to be. But think about it this way. If you're very, very tall, your feet hang off of your mattress. You hit your head on doors. People always ask you, do you play basketball? So it's just all in perspective. And then this over here, down here, is all to do with this like new initiative to try and experiment with the human race. This all is about experimenting with the human race, but don't tell them I said that. So this is, how wide do you want to be? Do you want to be super wide? Do you want to be medium wide, or do you want to be small wide, right? You know, corporate tends to think that we've been focusing too hard on the height of things and not the width of things. You know, why is the height of a human being of value, like gives some form of value or has some form of meaning, but their width doesn't? Perhaps if they're super, if they have a lot of width, then they'll be great for American football, and you know, and then suddenly it'll be like a one-on-one game or something. Who's to say? But regardless, these are experimental options if you wanted to try them. So, what do you want to do? Okay. Good to know. Okay, and then the last one, this one is my personal favorite because this was one that I think that they really wanted to get rid of. They really wanted to get rid of everything, but I fought for this. It may seem minute, but it's very important. So this is your pupil shape for your eyes. Let's just go through them really quickly. You'll understand why I wanted to keep this. So here we have just the regular pupil, right? It's like just an eye with a pupil. Here we have the cat, the feline eye, right? If you wanted to stand out a little bit, if you wanted to have like a fursona, this would be like a very good option. And then this one over here is the star pupil. This is actually very interesting because the way it contracts gives you a very alien look, but it's kind of cute when people get used to it, you know? So really think about it. This is very, very cute. This is if you want to go pupilless, right? We're starting to offer this option because people think that being, you know, like having cataracts or something is more chic now. So they have been asking for this. And so this is due to popular demand if you wanted to have like a none option. And then over here, this is a pumpkin shape. This is sort of our spooky Halloween themed, like if you want, you know, to celebrate the season, right? But all year round. This is in particular, I'll give you a closer look. This in particular is a shape that is among us all. However, I don't really know. Corporate really insisted that we have this, and I don't really know what it means. So we can sort of skip over it, but it is an option. And then this is the heart shape. This is if you wanted to, if you wanted to be very much like a playboy, a sort of, you wanted to like sleep around, those heart eyes can be very deceiving. And this over here is the square shape. This is if you didn't want to go for the typical one, but you wanted to just dip your toe in the other shapes. And then this one in particular, this one is the pause shape for your pupil. This was added due to specific survey feedback. It was a guy that wanted to make sure that he never had to say pause whenever he said anything that might be sexual. And so this, if anyone looks into these eyes, they'll know that he means pause. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, so that's all of the decisions, but there are a few questions I have before we leave, and you can be bestowed onto Earth. Okay, so this is the hopes and dreams segment. Do you wish to be wealthy? Do you wish to find love? Do you wish to have talent? And what kind of talent would you actually want? We have sport, esport, art, science, cunning, grifting, and nepo-babyism. Nepo-babyism it is. Okay, so I have here, you want to be wealthy, you do not want to find love, you do not wish to find talent, but the talent that you will have is nepo-babyism. Okay, so a talentless Nepo baby. Understood. All right then. I hope you enjoyed your time here in the afterlife, and I hope you have a wonderful journey through the highway back to reality. Okay then. Bye-bye.